But what I mean by de facto annexation is that, as a matter of fact, Palestinians can't live there, they can't go there, they can't produce, they cannot have livelihood.
We heard some violent Nazi chuds were going to get together in the park because they like to make YouTube videos of themselves looking really tough. And we thought, how tough can they look if you got unicorns in the background?
Hello, my name is Stanley Heller. Welcome to The Struggle. In an extraordinary development, officials in New York City are allowing students to join in the climate strike on Friday the 20th. The school system and the mayor will let students participate as long as they have their parents' permission. This is big, and it should be imitated. Students and teachers across the country should press for their towns and cities to allow this. The human race needs millions to come out in the Friday climate strike. For Connecticut developments, Sena Wazer.
Yeah, so on September 20th, there's going to be a global climate strike. So here in Connecticut, we are planning our own. So on that day, we need all youth, we need adults, we need unions, we need marginalized communities, we need everybody to come out and to show up and to say that we demand climate action now from all of our leaders.
So you say strike, you're hoping people will stop their normal activities?
Yeah, so skip school if you're in school, skip work, and come here and strike together at the Capitol.
You think the situation is that serious?
Yeah, so I mean, we know we have 12 years. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, they released a report saying that we have 12 years to stop climate change. And 2020 is our last chance to have a president in the White House who can actually do something about climate change. So yeah, it's time to stop our normal routine and to demand that we have action now, because we can't wait any longer.
Are any demonstrations planned for the 20th?
Yeah, so there's going to be a strike at the Capitol here in Hartford, where everybody will hopefully come out and strike with us.
In Connecticut, a rally on the 20th at 12 noon at the Capitol building in Hartford. And then later in the day, New Haven on the New Haven Green at 4 p.m. Now, a brief look at last week's Green Expo and Folk Festival in Connecticut, starting with the booth of Promoting Enduring Peace, which is working hard supporting the climate strike. In Connecticut, the governor has proclaimed an executive order that in 2040, there will be zero carbon emissions in Connecticut. But that will be long after he's gone from office. What matters is what is being done now. And right now, plans are this fall, a new electrical generating plant will be built in Killingly in the eastern part of Connecticut. And 2 million more tons of carbon dioxide will come out of that plant each year. The governor can stop it, and he's actually the last line of defense.
Hi there, this is Nancy Grindelski. I live in Killingly. We have a house on Alexander's Lake, which is right across from the power plant. You can already see the other power plant from the lake. You can hear it. We don't even know what this is going to do. The added noise. It's a beautiful lake. It's one of the, I think, the second cleanest lake in Connecticut. A lot of people make their homes there. It's not going to be a good situation for them. And I don't have to tell you, the air quality is already poor in Connecticut. It's going to be a lot worse in Killingly. And the water usage really scares me. They're going to be taking the water out of the aquifers. So of course they're going to be piping it from Plainfield, right? Plainfield. But aquifers are connected underground. It's going to affect a lot of people's water. And I don't know if you know, the northeast corner of the state is very poor. Like 30% of the people in Killingly are, below the poverty level. A lot of them don't have education. So they're really being taken advantage here. They're being sold a bill of goods. Oh, we're going to get, $92 million, blah, 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 over 20 years. But we know when we get that money, the state's going to send us less money. I mean, our schools are alliance schools. We have a lot of poverty, a lot of social problems in Killingly. So this is not going to make our environment any better. And thank you for coming out here. We're going to be fighting this along with you.
Yeah, we're all one.
Every once in a while on my computer I got caught up in clickbait, usually something about the 10 greatest basketball players of all time. But I saw one clickbait that was quite good. It was called the 10 Reasons Not to Play the Lottery. I'll just mention a few of them. The average American spends $300 a year on lottery tickets. So if that money was invested each year for 30 years, you'd wind up with $10,000 or $15,000. Another point is that the lottery preys on working people, and the owners of these games concentrate on the poor working class neighborhoods. And the advertising is dishonest. They never tell you the real odds of winning a big prize. Then there's the lottery curse. The fact that a huge percent of big lottery winners are plagued by relatives and friends who see them as, quote, a wallet packed in extraneous flesh for the rest of their lives, unquote. And last, the odds of winning a Powerball grand prize are 292 million to 1. That means if you buy 1,000 tickets or 10,000 tickets, your odds of winning are still infinitesimal. Now, if you buy one ticket every once in a while just to enjoy a few days of fantasy about winning, that's cool. But please don't get hooked on the lottery. On Democracy Now!, Nuara Erakat reacts to Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's latest outrage, his plan to annex outright a huge chunk of the West Bank.
The Jordan Valley, 30% of the West Bank, is located on the easternmost border of Palestine, Israel, and borders the Jordan River and the Dead Sea, which Palestinians have not had access to. What I mean by de facto annexation is that since 1967, Israel has declared that 60% of this area is a closed military zone, which means that Palestinians can't be on it. They can't dig into water wells. They cannot access the water for agriculture, even for their own drinking purposes. Right now, the settlers that live there, approximately 11,000 settlers, have access to 6 times as much water as the Palestinians. Israel has also declared 26 nature preserves. This is greenwashing, where they basically said these lands we're going to preserve for nature purposes, but that really just means that Palestinians can't be on those lands as they continue to build up settlements. The settlements now in the Jordan Valley the 37 settlements, 11,000 settlers, stand over one of the most productive settlement industries of agribusiness, the palm date industry, and so on and so forth, that should be the object of boycott, divestment, and sanctions campaigns. So what I mean by de facto annexation is that, as a matter of fact, Palestinians can't live there, they can't go there, they can't produce, they cannot have livelihood. Now, as a matter of law, Israel is basically telling the world, listen, we're going to stop the sham. It's just going to become part of Israel. We'll make it a fact on the ground, and it'll be part of what we call the defensible borders that Palestinians will have to accept. And under the framework of the peace process, that's exactly what the arrangement is. Israel has steadily taken the land, and because none of the peace process is regulated by any international law or by multilateralism, but instead is brokered by the U.S., which is Israel's primary ally, they can then establish that all the land that they take is theirs when they come back to the negotiating table and then say, Palestinians, you must accept this or take nothing. That's why this is, yes, a war crime. Yes, this is really disheartening. Yes, this is horrible, but this is also the logical end of a policy that we have stood by and watched. And instead of discussing this as settler colonial removal, instead of discussing this as apartheid and racial discrimination, we have discussed this as a question of sovereignty and a question of negotiations in two states, where the objective facts on the ground lead that there has not been a Palestinian state, that there will not be a Palestinian state. What Israel has wanted since 1967 and articulated in the Allon Plan, and now brought to fruition, is that Palestinians will be in semi-autonomous regions where they can govern themselves in Bantustans, and Israel will control the rest of their lives around them. And that's what we're seeing.
Last spring, Netanyahu was perfectly willing to join an openly racist political party in forming a governing coalition. And no doubt he'll do it again after Tuesday's election. Video from IMEU. The murder of Khashoggi is back in the news, with the Turkish government releasing a transcript of what was said during his final minutes in the Saudi embassy in Turkey. It is gruesome. In it, forensic scientist Salah al-Tubaigi is quoted as talking about how he will cut up a warm body. According to whichever media you believe, al-Tubaigi is either on trial for his life or just lying low in a Saudi city. What is beyond dispute is that al-Tubaigi remains on the governing board of the Saudi Society for Forensic Medicine. Here is a page of that society in Arabic, its governing board. And here is a Google translation into English. The screenshot is current. That forensic society has a journal, and on its editorial board is Henry C. Lee, the famous American forensic scientist who works at the University of New Haven. UNH has extensive ties to King Fahd Security College and will not cut them despite protest. Last week we reported on a Saudi bombing attack in Yemen that killed 100 people, almost all prisoners. But we underestimated it. The final death toll is 135. Here's a photo of a Massachusetts protest of Raytheon for their weapon sales to the Saudis. The group Just Foreign Policy believes September 19th is the day the National Defense Authorization Act will be agreed upon by a House and Senate joint committee. There's an effort to get an amendment to it that would ban U.S. help to Saudi Arabia in its war against Yemen. It is believed that it would be politically impossible for Trump to veto a bill that funds the military and, of course, the military-producing industries. The key politicians that need to be reached are Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senator Chuck Schumer. They are not saying what they would do on this amendment. Please give them a call. There's no need to live in the state that they represent. It's a national issue. Leave this message. Please insist the NDAA includes language ending U.S. help for the Saudi war against Yemen. For Schumer, call 202-224-6542. For Pelosi, call 202-225-4965. There are just a few days left to make these calls. From Idlib, Syria, some of the less obvious effects of Saudi-Russian bombing. Video from Syria, UK.
السلام عليكم. اليوم طبعا احكي عن وجع بيكون بعد القصف. طبعا كلياتنا بنعانيه، بس باللحظات الاولى للمجازر اللي عم بتصير فينا ما بنحس بالشيء اللي بنكون نحن بالفعل هو كارثه علينا. مجمل الناس بتلتهى بالرحمه على الشهداء وانتشال الجرحى من تحت الانقاض وتنظيف المكان بكل المدن والبلدات اللي عم تتعرض للقصف، الا انه بيكون في وجع وكوارث اكبر دائما بتكون هي بعد القصف او المرحله اللي بتجينا بعد القصف. اليوم مثل ما اننا ملاحظين هون المكان وقع فيه 5 شهداء وعدد كبير من الجرحى بيناتهم اطفال ونساء. طبعا الاستهداف ما بس بيكون للمنازل السكنيه بشكل مباشر مثل ما بنعرف، يمكن هذا الكلام كلياتنا صرنا حافظانينه. الاستهداف بشكل مباشر للمنازل المدنيين وايضا للمؤسسات الحيويه، يعني هو قطع تام لشريان الحياه، هو سياسه ممنهجه لتدمير البنى التحتيه وبالتالي التهجير من كل المدن والبلدات اللي عم تتعرض سواء بالريف الجنوبي او حتى بريف ادلب الغربي او حتى باريحا ومجمل المدن والبلدات اللي هي قابعه تحت حمله عسكريه شرسه من بدايه العام الحالي حتى الان بمجمل الاسلحه من قبل العدوان الروسي وايضا من قبل قوات الاسد. حابه احكي انه اليوم اريحا شبه خاليه من سكانها، ما عدنا نشوف اريحا عروس الشمال او مدينه الكرز. بالفعل اليوم تلونت ارضها بدم شهداء من أطفال ونساء. شفنا القصص اللي أثرت كتير فينا، روان وأختها، أيضا الناس اللي احترقت وصارت أشلاء هون بفعل وجود محلات للمحروقات. كان في عنا مكان للبلدية أو نقابة المعلمين على ما أذكر بنفس هذا المكان. الناس خرجت من هون، في ناس رح ترجع على البلدة أو على المدن اللي تهجرت منها ما رح تلاقي مأوى لها، بنفس الوقت ما رح تلاقي حياة، فهي ناس هون بدها ترجع. أساساً هي في ناس ما عم تقدر تطلع بسبب الوضع المادي الاقتصادي طبعاً المتردي لعامة الناس اللي لسه متواجدين بالمناطق المحررة. هي صورة عامة يمكن، بس اللي بدي نوه له إنه في ناس رح ترجع على هذا المكان، في ناس رح ترجع تلاقي بيوتها مدمرة، رح تلاقي مدينتها مدمرة، فبالتالي عم تضطر بغالبية الأحيان إنه تترك أو تقعد حتى بغرفة ما لها أي أساس، إنما بس في سقف فوقهم، وهذا أكثر شيء عم يتمنوه إنه يضل موجود ببلدهم. لذلك اليوم كنت حابة أحكي عن الآثار والنتائج اللي بتجينا واللي ما بنحس فيها أثناء القصف، إنما هي بتكون مؤلمة بالفعل، وهي كارثة حقيقية وإنسانية ما بعد القصف، واللي هي إنه المدن عم تتدمر، إنه جنى العمر لكل إنسان فينا هو معرض بأي دقيقة يصير مسوى على الأرض تماما بفعل العدوان الروسي وقوات الأسد يلي هي مصممة ومصرة إنه تقطع شريان الحياة عنا. بس كمان حابة أوجه رسالة إنه كوننا نحن لسه فيه ملايين الناس المتواجدين بإدلب وما استسلموا، هذا أكبر أمل إلنا إنه إن شاء الله نحن رح ننتصر ونال الحرية اللي طلبناها مهما زرفنا يعني من الدماء ومهما قدمنا من الضحايا والتضحيات بنفس الوقت، إن شاء الله النصر حرفنا.
Now from Unicorn Riot, coverage of anti-racist protests in Portland, Oregon.
Hey, what's up everyone? This is Unicorn Riot. We're live here at the Waterfront Park in Portland, Oregon. There's a few far-right groups that have been saying they're going to come rally in Portland today. There's been sort of a lot of violent rhetoric and threats around this event, so people are definitely on edge. Right now we're here in the middle of a counter-protest.
We heard some violent Nazi chuds. We're going to get together in the park because they like to make YouTube videos of themselves looking really tough. And we thought, how tough can they look if you got unicorns in the background and banana suits? So that's why my wife, Eunice Unicorn, and me, Edwin Unicorn, came down. There's room for so many different kinds of tactics and spectacle in the fight against Nazism, in the fight against white supremacy. And we can all come together in a collective struggle with different tactics and different ideas.
This is the Portland Police. There are no permits to march in the streets. Please stay on the sidewalks and follow all traffic laws. If you are in the street, you may be subject to arrest for disorderly conduct.
My name's Ashley Jackson. We're here, Labor Against the Fascists, to stand up to fascist terror in Portland, to let the fascists know that Portland is a union town. Labor is organized, and that's what's going to be necessary to stop the fascists. It's not going to be the mayor, it's not going to be the cops. The cops are on the side of the fascists. It's a threat, and it's an attack. These people have attacked union halls. Fascists historically will go after organized labor, and that needs to be remembered and known.
You said they attacked a union hall?
Yes, they attacked the Portland IWW hall.
My name is Danielle James. I'm a resident here of Portland, Oregon, born and raised, native. And I came out today because I heard about some of the horrible people that were coming out to do harm on people here in our city, and I don't appreciate it. I'm standing up against hate. I'm standing up against white supremacy. And honestly, I'm here because I'm black, and I'm pushing limits, and I'm testing people. I want to see just how deep the hate goes. Proud Boys, Patriot Prayer, and a few other extreme groups have descended on our city, chose to come here and basically cause harm, push people around with their rhetoric, their hate. I don't appreciate it. I feel like this is a place in time right now that we should be coming together and unifying. Portland seems to be a hot spot for them because we push back. There's no room for them, there's no platform for them. They can't come here and just spew their hate. And I think they like the conflict. Unfortunately, they come here and they get it because Portland's not having it.
We're on the pedestrian portion of a bridge going over the river. Where we just were was on the waterfront, which is on this side of the river. There'd been a rally by the Proud Boys and some affiliated groups further down on the right side over there. We heard that the Proud Boys had left. The police reopened the Hawthorne Bridge over there, which had been closed all day. They reopened it just to let the Proud Boys leave. We've heard that the far-right rally organizer Joe Biggs announced his event was over and asked everyone to leave. It's not clear if everyone there has left. These people are headed over there. So it looks like people are taking the streets now.
Yes! So what just happened is they decided to block the sidewalk. They weren't letting us walk on the sidewalk. The guy shoved me with his baton, won't give me his name. It's crazy. So what is with the PPP? You're asking yourself, right? Yeah. There are thousands of us here today, and that is good, but...
What did you come out for?
To be an anti-fascist, which I am.
The cops are telling this person they can't rev their engine.
Our Middle East Crisis Committee is well known for its banners. This is one we used to try to prevent the 2003 shock and awe invasion of Iraq. We reminded Americans of all the troops who suffered from maladies which the government minimized as Gulf War syndrome. We decided to show you it one last time before sending it to oblivion. That's our program for today. See you next week at this time. I'm Stanley Heller for The Struggle.